Hi, my name is Isaac Bernstein. I'm the assistant rabbi at Congregation Eitz Chaim in Livingston, New Jersey. This week's Parsha is Matot-Masei, and the Parsha of Matos begins speaking specifically to the heads of Israel, the heads of the tribes, the heads of the people. And it's interesting because there's so many mitzvos that we have in the Torah, so many commandments that we are given, such important rules, so many beautiful teachings that we are taught throughout the entire 5 books of the Torah. And yet not many of them are given specifically to one group, they apply to everyone, but to be told specifically to one group, there aren't that many. And yet this one about vows and oaths in the beginning of the Parsha, about when you take an oath, about when you take a vow, making sure that you follow through on your word and what would happen if you do not, that is given specifically to the heads of the tribes. And this question of why specifically this mitzvah, why specifically, these teachings are given specifically to the Roshei Matos, the people who are the leaders of Klal Yisrael, this question is asked by the Chassam Sofer. The Chassam Sofer asks this question and he answers something so beautiful. He says that specifically to the leaders, they're the ones who need to hear this message. Says, for me and you, small people in Klal Yisrael, we talk to each other, we say, I'm going to do that, we don't end up doing it, okay, we'll get over it. It's not good, we shouldn't do that. We should always make sure that when we, take oaths and vows, that we should be 100% sincere, and we should know that what we are, promising is going to happen. But when you're a leader, leaders make these promises all the time. Leaders make these, grand gestures all the time in their speeches, at their rallies. Vote for me, I'm going to do X. Vote for me, I'm going to do Y. I promise you, if only I get elected, I'm going to follow through with everything that's on my agenda. And we know there's never been a president, there's never been a leader that has fulfilled every single promise that they made in the election time. And so the Chassam Sofer says, specifically to the leaders, Hashem wants to be told, that don't be like all those other leaders that make promise to their constituents, that make promises and they make, vows and oaths that something's going to happen. And I promise you, if only you elect me, I'm going to bring back X. I'm going to, start this. Don't be like that. Be a leader that the people can trust 100%. Be someone that the people feel 100% confident in coming to you. And when you come to them and you tell them X, Y, or Z, they believe and they trust that that's going to happen. Why? Because it came out of your mouth. Because they know that you are a trustworthy person. They know that they can put their bitachon, their trust in you. And we learn this from none other than Hashem himself. The Gemara talks about when we need rain and when on Rosh Hashanah we're going to daven for rain. So let's say we're really good people that Rosh Hashanah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm going to give them all the greatest rain. So a few months later, he says, I'm going to give them X amount of rain. So a few months later, if we're not acting properly, Hashem says, I'm going to take that rain and that X amount of rain, that same amount, and I'm going to put it in places where you don't need it. And on the flip side, if we're really, really bad on Rosh Hashanah, and comes Hanukkah time, a few months later, and we're really, really good, Hashem is going to take that exact amount of rain that he decreed on Rosh Hashanah, and he's going to put it in the exact same places that we need it. So the question is, why can't HaKadosh Baruch Hu just increase the amount or decrease the amount? Why does it always have to be the same amount of rain that he said he was going to do in Rosh Hashanah? Because Hashem knows this lesson, that when you're a leader, when you're a person, and you say something's going to happen, you need to follow through with that. You need to make sure that what comes out of your mouth is going to come to fruition. And as a leader in Klal Yisrael, and all of us, and leaders in our community, and people who others look up to, in many ways. You don't have to be a rabbi, you don't have to be anyone for others to look up to you. Everyone in our own lives, we have people in our family, our friends group, that look up to us. And so when we act in a certain way, and when we take a vow, an oath, make a promise, we have to always be sure that is going to come true. Shabbos.